What's up guys, Eric here from Color Change Customs, and in this video I'm going to show you how to wrap the face or the body of your guitar in a color shifting gloss vinyl wrap film. Alright, so before we get started on the project, let's go over a couple of tools and items that you're going to need to do this. Of course, first of all, you want to have your guitar or whatever it is you're going to wrap. Make sure that it's cleaned off nicely. So that there's no oils or residues to the best of your ability on the surface that you're going to be wrapping. Next, you're going to need some squeegees to help you to lay down the vinyl. Now, the squeegees I have a felt buffer on one end. This particular one does not have anything else on the other side there. This is a 3M gold squeegee. This one I have Teflon tape on this side here. You're going to need knives, or a knife at least. I recommend a utility knife. This is a vivid body knife, and in this one I have 58-degree blades, stainless steel blades in this. And then in this one I have a stainless steel body. This is an Alpha blade. This one, by the way, or Alpha body. This is a vivid body, by the way. Having some micro squeegees would be helpful, and this helps you tuck in the vinyl into tight areas, like the bridge area here of the guitar. And then you want a heat source. I'll be using a heat gun here for this particular project. You can use a hairdryer if you don't happen to have a heat gun. Just be aware that with a hairdryer, it puts out a lot of wind when you're doing it, and so it may blow your vinyl around. Here I also have just a little toolkit that I put all this stuff in here and hang it on my belt when I'm working, just for ease of access, to have access to my different tools. Other things you might want to consider having is a wrap glove to help you smooth down vinyl with your fingers or your hands. This really makes your fingers and hands slide very quickly and easy over the vinyl. Tape measure for making any measurements if you need. Grease pencil or some sort of marker that's erasable if you need to make marks for whatever reasons. Reference marks, tick marks, maybe trace out a part that you need to cut on the vinyl first before applying. And of course, lastly, you'll want to have your vinyl. And in this one, I'll be using 3M's Gloss Psychedelic Flip, which is a color shifting, rainbowy, prismatic kind of vinyl. So when you have all your tools assembled and ready to go, and your guitar cleaned up, let's get started with the project. Alright, so to get started here, double check that your piece is going to be big enough to cover the guitar in its entirety. I am just covering just the face, and I'll be trimming off on the edge of the guitar body itself. So as you can see, I have a piece that's cut big enough to cover all the way up top, across the bottom, and on the sides. Once I know I have my piece big enough, what I'll go ahead and do is just peel off the whole sheet now, and then try to basically place the vinyl down center over the body of the guitar. And I want to make sure that I have about even coverage along all the sides, and the top and the top side and the bottom side as well. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of see if I can make sure I am centered. And then I'm going to start tacking down some of the edges here to start anchoring it, so I can start manipulating the vinyl a bit as over the body of the guitar. Now, this is 3M, and so it is, and this is actually automotive, their automotive vinyl, and so it is repositionable. I can pick it back up multiple times, I can stretch it, I can heat it, so that's basically what I'll be doing here. And so what I'm doing is I'm just creating a little bit of tension, or trying to do what's called glassing it out, and by pulling the vinyl in opposite directions, creating a smooth glass-like surface, and then laying that down onto the body or the surface of the guitar. This is a little difficult because the guitar is loose and it's moving around on me. So as I try to do this, so I'm gonna hold, once I have one side tacked down, I'll just use my arm to pin this if I can, and then start sealing down these edges here. Now you can see I've got where the neck meets into the body there, starting to show through and creating a little bridge right there. I've got this area here, which is creating a raised portion there. But that's okay, we'll be addressing that here in a little bit. So I want to also do the same on the other side, because I have a little bit of slack here, excess material that's bundled up. So again, this is repositionable. I'm going to pop this up. I'm going to pop it up. All right. now I've got that popped up, I'm gonna pull, just give it a little bit of tension. See how if I give it a little tension, it kind of turns smooth and glassy like, which is that glassing out process. And then I am just trying to make sure that I make it to the edges. I can tack that down and get it nice and smooth without any wrinkles in it in this process here. And again, doing that by what's called glassing it out, or pulling the vinyl in opposite directions, if you will, to create that smooth glass-like look. All right, so basically I've got it down to all the edges, and I've sealed it off. There's a little bit of a gap here. You can see that's where the hole is, or what goes into the hole there. And speaking of that, what I'm going to do is start sectioning off these raised areas here. So this bridge area here, and then looking for the hole here. So there's that. I'm going to pop this up a little bit to smooth that out because I was getting a little bit of a wrinkle there. And so you can see what I'm doing is I'm, if you will, encapsulating this high point here, creating a bubble around it, if you will, of vinyl. And what that's going to do is help me in terms of cutting this out, cutting it around to lay down the rest of the vinyl. So now you can see I've created basically an air bubble, if you will, around this high point here. And so I'm going to now try to find the edges so I can start making a relief cut, start cutting this out to allow the vinyl to drop down and around. So I'm going to give it just a touch of heat here to soften up the vinyl. You see what I'm doing is it's starting to cause the vinyl to kind of pull a little bit and shrinking back on itself and cleaning itself up a little bit there. I'm using low heat because this is a guitar. I don't want to use super high heat on something that's a little bit delicate. This is not an expensive guitar by any means. This is only an example guitar. I also realize and recognize this is an acoustic guitar, and so by putting vinyl wrap, it may, in some sense, alter the actual sound of the guitar. So yes, understand that you may be doing that if you're doing it to an acoustic guitar, but what I'm trying to show you is that this is a process. You can apply it to an electric guitar, which does not require some of the acoustics properties of an acoustic guitar. Okay, so I'm kind of doing the same here to this side here, this high point. All right, so now I've got some edges there. Because the air is not puffing on this, and I know where my edges are, I'm going to take my knife and put out just the very, very, very tip of it right here, and I'm going to poke right next to the side and run the side of the blade against the side of this bridge area right here, slowly and carefully. So I'm pressing against that way, the side of my blade is pressing against that, and using this bridge as my guide. I'm going to try to find the edge here, find the corner point right there. I'm going to do the same on the other side here. Okay, just like that. Find my edge, or my point, my corner, which is right there. I'm going to do the same on the side here, not to be careful because this is much lower, so I don't want to scratch the surface of the guitar. So I'm going to put just the very, very tip in. And you want to make sure your knife is super sharp, so with these utility knife snap-off blades, make sure you snap off a blade before starting. And do the same on this other side here. There's the corner. Okay. And you can tell my knife is super sharp because it's gliding right through this vinyl like butter. Alright, so now that that's got some air released out of it, just going to work that down. Find my edge there. Flip this around. It's easier for me to cut towards myself than it is to cut away from myself. That way I can see what I'm doing as I cut. Alright, so there's my corner right there. Same on this side here. And as I get to the very, very corner tip, I slow down a whole lot so that I can find my corner properly. Alright. I'm just going to try to lift off this vinyl here. of that. Alright, so now I'm going to lay this down by, I'm going to use my hard edge of my squeegee. I'm going to put the vinyl into the corners first. Pushing it into the corners. Okay, once I've got that, get that down, get that down. Squeegeeing basically towards the center now. What I can do is, this is actually a little bit of slack in the vinyl, so if I give it some heat, that'll cause the vinyl to shrink up a little bit and tighten up, as you can see what it's doing right there. And it's actually somewhat laying itself down when I did that. Now I'm just going to finish squeegeeing that off, bring it all the way to the edge there. Same thing with that. Squeegee that. That all the way to the edge there. Alright, so that's around the bridge. Alright, now what I'm going to do is, on this side, is effectively the same process. I got to find the edge of the bridge here. And just to get the tip of my blade against the side of the neck here. Slide that, using the neck as my guide. Sliding that along that side until I reach the point here, which then I'm going to cut in towards this empty space here. And do the same thing on this other side here. Then when I reach the tip or the point there, I'm going to just cut into the empty space of the hole here. Now, on a non-acoustic guitar or solid body guitar, you might not necessarily have this option, so you'll have to basically do the same as this, where you would cut along where the where this piece meets into the body of the guitar. So same concept here. I'm just going to squeegee it down, squeegee this down. Alright, so that is now down. Take my knife and basically trim out the inside by placing the side of this blade on the inside of the circle here, carefully. Just like that. That is now cut out. Alright, and so basically this is almost done for all intents and purposes. And so what I want to do now is I just want to define my edge lines of the body, because I'm going to basically cut just along the side of the blade on the side of the body, just like I showed you here. Showed you with these, excuse me. So, alright, so now I'm going to find the edge and basically use the body of the guitar as my guide, which the side of my blade is flat against the side of the body of the guitar. That way I'm cutting just the vinyl and nothing else. So hopefully this will, I can do it here and show you a different angle. It's like this. Okay, continuing on here. Just going to lift this, and while I'm cutting, I'm pulling the vinyl very slightly just to add a little bit of tension on the vinyl to keep it nice and taut as I cut. That way the vinyl cuts smoothly and cleanly without any jaggedy or edges or dragging or whatever. Also, it's again, make sure your blade is super sharp by snapping off a new blade if you need to. As soon as you feel the blade not sliding through the vinyl with very good ease, then you know it's time to snap off the blade tip, and then that way you now have a sharper blade tip to use while cutting, and you know that your cut is going to be good. Again, all I'm doing is side of my blade is against the side of the body of the guitar. Sorry, didn't realize I was out of camera view. And so I'm using my arm, my left arm in this case, to hold down the body of the guitar while I'm trimming. And again, as I'm cutting, I'm lifting the vinyl, adding just a touch of tension onto the vinyl to help keep the cut nice and clean, and the vinyl is taut as in tight, so that it will cut cleanly and nicely. Excuse me. All right, so just a little bit here. All right. All right, guys. So for all intents and purposes, this is basically fully wrapped. The only other thing you might want to do is smooth down any edges along the side there, just like I'm doing like this. You can also use a microfiber cloth to do that as well, or if you have a wrap glove, put that wrap glove on, or just use it like I'm using, kind of as a cloth, to smooth down and press down the edges, just like this. Then I like to take the heat gun, go low, just give it a kiss of heat to make sure everything is settled down nicely, that there's no trapped air bubbles in the body of the guitar, or on the body under the vinyl on the body of the guitar. Alright, if you need to tuck stuff in a little bit tighter, you can use my micro squeegee to do that, which I'm doing just around this this bridge area here and along the neck part there. Alright guys, and so now this has been wrapped in 3M Psychedelic Flip, Gloss Psychedelic Flip Vinyl. So hopefully you thought this video was instructive and informative, maybe a little bit helpful and entertaining. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Thanks guys, have a great day.